week 5 of the ARU Men's Collegiate Breakdown Show. Not sung in this week.
That hurt my feelings. I was so excited.
It wasn't lyrical enough last week when I heard it playback, so we're just going to step off that. But welcome to week 5. Hopefully you're having a great week, and you have been eagerly, as I know you are, anticipating our new show. I am sure Hightower has already sent me a Facebook message.
You get them too?
Asking.
You get them too?
Yeah.
About
3 o'clock on a Thursday, without fail. So, hi. Hey, what's up, bud? Here's your show. And with that, we got a good one for you. We have, obviously, our recap segment. We keep saying this, but we are going to do it this week. Keep it shorter because we have a longer guest segment. Really great interview that we just got done recording with the WVU guys. So they'll talk to us a little bit about their match with Kent State, our week 5 preview, a little sneak peek at our standings and playoff positioning as we're creeping towards, I don't know, maybe what would you say, middle, end of the season?
I think we're creeping up on the later half, right?
I think so.
3 weeks left? Yeah, half.
Yeah. I mean, we look at it like we had 3 a bye and 3, and we're starting our second half here. So, yeah, second half of the season. So we'll take a look at playoff positioning. We'll talk a little bit about Cohen versus Bowl series, so that way it's clear what's going on with that. That is a change at the small college level this year. Of course, your absolute favorite segment, Office Hours with Dr. Sanko. And then the maid will come on and house clean afterwards, and we'll call her a wrap. So, Seth, I hear you had a fun weekend.
Yeah, so 2 guys shared a bye, did not hang out. Why not? Do you have a good Alf? Was Alf good?
I had a very good Alf. The kids enjoyed their parade. It poured on us, and so we went home. And, kids were happy, so we were happy.
I would like you to know I was 20 minutes north and didn't get 1 drop of rain at all.
That's insane.
That was great.
Wow.
So my vacation was great, too. So...
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Let's get into the recap. Game of the week was Kent State WVU. We'll talk about it in length. You don't need me to hammer it. WVU pulled out a good win with some fancy footwork by a lock to a flank or a flank to the lock. I can't remember. Put single-digit number, kicked it to a single-digit number. Amazing. Every coach, as soon as they see it hit the foot, starts screaming, and it works. Shut up real quick. Let it go. So they pulled out the win.
Greatest moments of their lives, for sure. Greatest moments of their lives.
Yeah, for sure. So that was our game of the week. 20-13 WVU over Kent. Right now, IUP and WVU are tied at the top of the Division II standings, 5 points each. WVU goes into a bye week. We got Kent. So Division II is heating up. Match 2 was actually a forfeit win to Rio. Again, Rio building that resume, getting a forfeit win from Marshall. Not really sure why the forfeit happened. I think it was a lack of numbers on Marshall's end, / they're ahead of their division right now, so maybe came into play. They didn't want to cross division. Can't blame them. Coming out 2-0 in their division, that's great. And then the Rugby Ruckus happened, everyone. It happened. The ruckus is over. Apparently, there wasn't much ruckusing going on, per Coach Jason. Franciscan keeps their top of the national rankings. What are they? 9 in the coaches pool.
As of this recording, could be higher.
It's probably going to change. We got 1 more to play this week before those come out, I think. So you'll talk about next. Franciscan over SUNY, 97-0. From my understanding, that was another dominant, Franciscan backline performance again. John is amazing at that 12, setting up players. They're 15, I think, got into the mix a lot this week. So Franciscan stay unbeaten.
And we were able to watch a little bit of that video, and My God, talk about, I mean, this was a week of a hurricane. Obviously, it's a hurricane remnants and all that good stuff here. It was sideways hammering rain the whole match. I mean, it looked miserable. But they did get marched out by bagpipes. So maybe there's your ruckus, which looked pretty cool. But speaking of tropical storms, I suppose that's what hit us, not the actual hurricane, the remnants of the hurricane. Unfortunately for Slip and Frostburg, the university at Frostburg canceled everything for
Early
the
on,
weekend
yeah.
because of the hurricane. So they are actually playing their game Tuesday night. We record Monday night. We'll put the score down here once it comes up, so you'll see the score rolling. We don't know what it is yet. But it's a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. kickoff, thanks to the hurricane. Then we go to West, not affected by the hurricane, at least not as much. Kenyon went up to Baldwin Wallace. Baldwin Wallace coming off their bye, big 61-12 win. You know, I mean, we said it here on the show last week. If Baldwin Wallace comes out and puts up a big number again, I mean, you got to take them serious as legit contenders, not only for the ARU West, but maybe for the ARU Small College Championships, right? I think we need to start saying that as well. So, great win for Baldwin Wallace. You know, Kenyon got out of the gate with a good win against Denison, kind of running up against Case and Baldwin Wallace, but like we're going to talk about with the WVU guys, hey, good competition shows you where you need to improve, so hopefully they're taking notes. Someone has been taking notes at Denison, though, because they got on the board, and it seems to have been a tight match at Denison, Case Western and Denison. Case pulled it out 38-27, but that is, I'm going to say, if you're Denison, a really positive result, considering the first two matches were, well, 19-0 against Kenyon, and then kind of blown out by John Carroll. So a really good result here for both teams. Looks like it was a great game. Case picking up another win. So certainly, as we say each week, the West is a fantastically fun division. Can't wait to see how it all comes down to at the end. And then finally, John Carroll and Bowling Green States, we think second side.
Third,
maybe.
I know they're first
Something.
in IUPUI. We get confused with them a ton. So I know they had their match. I don't know if that division they do A and B playing the same, same sides. I don't know.
Right.
Could have been a second side. Could have been a third side. Who cares? That's a great result against a great program. Bowling Green top down. They're maybe more of a freshman side on that third side, but still going to be guys that have played. St. Ignatius, St. Edwards. They pull very heavily from those private Ohio schools that are always in the top nation high school wise. So right.
So good for John Carroll. I mean, picking up another win, another quality win, and again, that division is going to be great. The next couple of weeks, really, as we vie for that title. So can't wait to see what happens out of that. Good rugby played by all in a monsoon. And speaking of a monsoon, it was a torrential rainfall in Morgantown, but that is where our player of the week comes from. So, Seth, Kane Howe, fullback at WVU, player of the week.
First semester player, I believe he's a sophomore, first semester player. And you'll hear about it in the next segment. They had to move some pieces around. They have had some injuries after the first couple weeks. Everybody does. So they I think, found a pretty good, capable replacement at 15. It was just a second start. He was able to set up with really long runs, a couple tries that kind of changed the tide, minus the fantastic footwork by the forwards. But Coach Paul said he, on the back end was a great defensive asset, great tackler, really was able to stop a lot of long runs. So he's this week's player of the week. Big match, only second start. Getting in there and helping WVU come away with the win against Kent in a big divisional matchup. So we'll get to see them in 2 weeks. Pretty excited to see, how we play. We always play a tight match. IUP and WVU is always a very tough defensive match. I'd expect that one to be under 20 on both sides when we play. But we got to get there. We got to get 1 week at a time, right? We got to get through next week. So congratulations, Kane. We'll have your nice graphic up hopefully this week. I'm pretty sure I forgot last week and/or went away too soon last week. One of the two. So sorry, John. I know you got the love from Coach Pinball or Coach Jason. I don't know what you call him. I'll post both this week, so we correct it. That's my bad. I'll take the blame.
We right our wrongs here. That's right. Well, speaking of and staying with our WVU theme here so far, which I'll just throw out as a grad of WVU, I'm not upset about. Almost wore the flying WVU.
You could have. Hey, I was outnumbered. It's fine. I was outnumbered.
I could have, but I'll let them do it. They're the ones there now. So we had a great interview with them, and we will bring them in right now. So here they come. Joining us this week for our special guests from West Virginia, Coach Coffy and number 8, Seamus. Great win, as we already talked about here. Our game of the week winners, West Virginia over Kent State. And so continuing that tradition that we started all of last week, where we invite the winners of the game of the week on to talk to us. Here they are. And so, guys, we obviously weren't there. Sounded like it was a heck of a game. Give us a little rundown, a little recap. What happened in Morgantown?
Yeah, so I'll start off here, and I'll let Seamus fill in any gaps that I'm missing. So so Kent State came out quick. They have a really good team. Obviously, they're number 10. Lucas is a really, really good player. He always comes to play. He always plays aggressively. He's got really great stiff arms, some really good offensive moves. Solid on defense. They have some pretty good guys in the pack. Pretty big guys in the pack. So they came out and they scored the first try. Came back and they led for most of the game up until I think like 15 minutes left or so. And they kicked a penalty kick we had right in front of the post, and it went up 13-10. And then we came back down the field, and it was a wet and cold day, so we realized that when we got it to the outside, it's a lot easier to score when you have a 3-on-1, right? So we started playing fastball and getting it out to the outside, and our back line got into a groove and got into what they really needed to do. And we just, immediately, as soon as we figured that out, like, okay, hey, we're good to go. Scored one try, 15-13. And then at the end, we actually had a flanker attempt a grubber kick, or kind of it was a up and under kind of thing, right, Seamus? And our lock, it just bounced into his hands, grabbed it, and just basically straight shot into the try. So we had a forward kick and a forward catch and try. So not a bad way to end the game. Like I said, it was cold, it was wet, it was rainy. So we had a couple missed opportunities. I really firmly believe that we left probably 3 or 4 tries out there on the field, drop passes, knock-ons, silly kind of mistakes like that. But I can tell this year already we've come a long way, right? And it's always hard to tell when you play really, really nice weather games, the first couple games, and then it gets, the ball gets wet, and then everybody kind of like, oh, I forget how to catch, right? And normally, Seth, I know you'll like this. Normally, it's the backs dropping the balls, right? Not the forwards at that point. But yeah, so it was really well contested. Like I said, I thought we left probably 3 or 4 tries out on the field with a couple of silly errors. Penalty-wise, we did a lot better. We did have 1 yellow card on our side, a silly high tackle, but we ended up scoring a man down our first try, I believe, or second try. I can't remember which one. So that was kind of a good sign. Obviously, we want to clean that up. But we didn't have. I think we barely had any like offsides penalties, kind of silly little mistakes like that. So we're getting a lot better on that. So I think Bowling Green the first week, they, obviously they're a really good side, right? We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a lot against them, but we've learned from them. Franciscan, Rio, we kind of put it together a little bit better this week. Still a couple things to work on, but yeah, I'll let Seamus kind of talk from there from his perspective.
Yeah, the one play, like Coach mentioned it a little bit, we were up by 3. Because we were up by 1 score, and there was about 3 minutes left in the game. And we're kind of driving down the field. We get to the 22, and our flanker decides that he's going to do a little chip kick. And it was one of those plays where the entire sideline all unanimously screams, "No, no, no, what are you doing?" And then our lock catches it in stride and ends up scoring to try to ice the game. So that was phenomenal. But complete hats off to the whole Kent State side. I mean, they were down a few guys through injuries. They didn't have a lot of subs, and I mean, they're a very big pack to begin with. So for all those guys to play so hard for 80 minutes, that was pretty impressive. And then for us too, we had 4 of our starters in the pack were hurt, myself included. So we had a lot of moving pieces. Even just before the game, we had one of our guys who was supposed to start, and he messed up his ankle the day before. So Trey, our lock, and then we had 2 of our backs, Mark Lewis, one of them, our center, broke his toe, and then another one, Zach Boker, he was our previous 10, he was out with a broken rib. So for those young guys to kind of step up and, even though it was a sloppy game, it was cold, it was rainy, like to see like the young guys, like some of our freshmen step up was pretty promising for the whole team.
Yeah, do you think stacking early on with really good competition, like Bowling Green, D1 AA powerhouse, and then Franciscan, who's, as we talk about on here probably weekly, a really, really, really good small college side. Do you think that getting your newer guys a little bit more playing time early on?
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach.
No, I'll let you take it first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I 100% think that's the case because, we had a lot of guys who were either freshmen or just getting the first caps, against Bowling Green. Franciscan had a phenomenal squad as well. They had some really smart players in Rio that they were top to bottom, really good talent as well. So, like, for those new guys, not just to get in the game, but also they can see up close and personal the type of, like, talent that, those teams have and, like, what you need to have in order to compete, at this level. It's so phenomenal then, if, we just did, like, a few inter-squad scrimmages or if we, like, didn't – playing those tough teams on, like, early really, really helps out. The guys that are starting, but also like the B-side guys and the guys who are newer to the college level. Yeah,
so I'll say the best thing about playing good teams is they really show you where your mistakes are, right? They, a team like Bowling Green, Franciscan even, and Rio. You make a mistake and they capitalize on it, right? You learn not to make mistakes after that, right? And I think it's good for us to play those guys early on in the year because it identifies where we're weak at, where we could have been better at. I thought the match against Rio, Bowling Green was kind of our first game of the year. The loss against Franciscan hurt a little bit. That was a tough 1-point push out, right? Tough to think about the rest of the weekend that weekend for sure. But the Rio game, though, was a loss. I think we learned a lot out of it, and we had about 10 minutes in that match that was sloppy, I'll say, but the rest of the 70 minutes were awesome, And so this is my second year with WVU, and I told the guys, I was like, hey, we've come so far. I mean, last year when we started off our first game, that 10 minutes in there was our entire beginning of the season, right? So we're definitely showing continual improvement. We, like Seamus said, we have a lot of young guys stepping out. Obviously, we had Kane step up at fullback this week. A couple of other new guys. We have Philip from went to St. Ed's High School. He's a freshman, big, tall lock. A couple of other guys in in freshman and sophomore year. So we have some good talent. Dylan Freet, Red, our scrum half, we came in. Another young guy, just started right off the bat, and we have a really good side. So.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I empathize. I understand the whole start off with a strong schedule. Get a lot of your rookies in there. It can kind of be tough, and maybe a little bit debilitating to the team. Got to keep the attitudes up. Okay, listen, we're getting better. I know the wins aren't coming, but it's good to then get that win and kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, things are working well for us, and we are getting better. So with that in mind, getting better, you do have some tough matches coming up, particularly against this guy, Seth and IUP. So up next, what's your, don't give away the secrets here, but what are you looking for in that game?
Yeah, so from my perspective, we're obviously not going to give away secrets to the insider in the club here right now, right?
Sean's going to stay at 10, right?
Sean, he is actually. I'll tell you that. Sean Hennessy's another great one. I mean, that kid is a freaking phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Again.
Sorry, I cut off there. I was trying to actually. Seamus kicked me off. He said I was giving up too much away for a game against IUP. But that's one big thing we've worked on this year, and we're going to continue to work on is defense, right? And really using it almost as an offense, and keeping pressure on the offense, right? I think we're a good tackling team. We're a physical team. We're a smaller team, and a lot of people see that as okay. Well, your pack is so small, right? And the one thing I will say is that everybody sees as a disadvantage. I see as an advantage, right? So we're very, very fast physically on the front line, and I think that's one of the key things that I want to keep working on, not just against you guys in IUP, but for the rest of the year, right? Seth, moving Sean into 10 was a good position move. We Saturday was a real team win, right? And we had a lot of new guys and a lot of new positions that are gonna be really, really good, and we're gonna do some good things with. So
yeah, well, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Hopefully we don't have remnants of a hurricane coming through. That's the exciting.
That'd be helpful. Well, so last question for you here, and then we'll let you guys go. If you had, and you do, a soapbox right now, you got 30 seconds to pitch a kid on why they should come to WVU and play rugby. What are you telling the kid?
We've had a culture change, right, over the last couple of years, and we are going from I want everybody out there to know, all the kids who would potentially want to come. Like we're not here to just be a party school, right? And we're definitely not a party rugby team. We take rugby very, very seriously, and we have very tough practices. And we are turning the corner of, what we kind of have a valley in right now, and we are only on our way up as a club. This crest means a lot to me. I played for 5 years at WVU as well. And the only place we're going is up.
Well, on that amazingly positive ending, I think we should say thank you both for coming on the show this week, and best of luck. Well, you have a bye, so stay healthy this week. And Seth, we'll see you in 2.
I will see you in 2 weeks. It's a field I blew my knee
I think I know the game of the week in 2 weeks. So.
Marc gets the pick in 2 weeks, I think. So maybe I'll slide him 5.
Yay, I get paid on the show. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great night.
Guys.
That was a fun interview, descriptive interview. Those guys certainly gave us a lot, not you a lot, but certainly gave our audience a lot to know about WVU rugby.
Look, I get it. I would not give me any information to go by either. I absolutely respect it. I actually get picked on by my guys that I probably give too much information, but that's just me. I gotta talk rugby. You ask me questions, I'm gonna answer. Maybe next week show I kind of go on a little defensive. Nah, I won't. I'll give you all the good info.
Nah.
Hey, we are what we
book.
are. We're going to come out and we're going to play our style. If you got tape on us, you're going to see it. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of freshmen, a lot of rookies that they won't take change. So what you see is what you get.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, well, that's, you keep talking up the IUP WVU match, but that is now 2 weeks away. We do have games every week. I know. You want to get there. But let's talk our preview of week 5. Shall we?
So, first match of the week is going to be, which we haven't picked a game of the week. Oh, we did. You're right. We did.
Yes, we did. Yep.
That was
good.
Before morning coffee. I'm sorry. So match 1, Raya's getting back at it with their Scrum Out Rugby event, or Scrum Out Cancer event. It is Raya's version of a Ruck Out Cancer event. They are playing the Notre Dame College. I don't know if it's our first side. I think it's the second side. I think Notre Dame College is playing. Oh boy, I forget. It's out of division. They have a conference match. So I believe it's their seconds. Don't hold me to that. It might not be their seconds. But they're getting back at it. They're hosting, I believe it's their first home match of the semester. If I can get to my setup here. No, it's their second home match. They hosted Cincinnati earlier. But they're looking to pack at field. They got a really sweet pitch here. It's a dedicated pitch down kind of a big old hill.
Yeah.
It looks pretty sweet. If it was monsoon season, there'd be rookie mudslides like crazy down that. So they're looking to get back at it, keep building, keep pushing the D1 pathway. Kent State IUP version 2 is up again this week. This time they come to us at home. We're looking to keep building. We're looking to hopefully get a little bit more healthy after this bye week. We have a couple long-term injuries that hurt. We lost RJ for an extended period of time, which, knowing him, he's going to work hard. He's going to rehab really hard and get back before the timeline that they gave. Giving him the
Now you're good. It's actually good.
Yeah. So he'll be out this week. I know he's mad about it because Luke at 10 is his longtime best friend since kindergarten. I know I hammered it the first time we played Kent that, Luke is a great player, really good high school coach, really good high school program to play through. There may be a state championship trophy somewhere right there. So he, he's going to come to play. I anticipate them really looking to rebound. This is kind of make or break match for them. Being that now they're behind 2 matches to both IUP and WVU. This is going to be their championship. They have to come out and play. Like, if they don't win this, then they're out. We expect their best. I mean, we always expect everybody's best when you have a really good spring like we did. Everybody guns for you. So, especially after as good a first half as they played against us the first time, and then to see it kind of unravel in the second half, we look for a little bit different of a change-up. We're going to have a little bit different of a lineup set just because we know RJ's absolutely out this week. But we got depth. We got depth for the first time.
Well, and I'll just say that you keep saying, because of the good spring that we had. Well, I hate to break it to you, but you're having a good fall too.
I don't want to jinx it. We're playing very well. We have some pretty good depth. We're going to go out with our 6 different lineup again. So it's not perfect.
To be fair, I said to this point. I'm not projecting that you're going to have a good 2020.
Yeah, and then that brings us to you. You're back at it, off a bye at home to Slippery Rock, and Slippery Rock's been playing really well. Does the short week hurt them? I know in the NFL they talk about it a lot. Does the short week going to hurt Sunday to Thursday? This one's a Tuesday to Saturday. The way they play, does it become a factor, being that they are so good defensively? Heasley wouldn't admit it when he was on the show last week that they talk about channel angle attacks and stuff like that. We don't think of it that way. They think about it that way.
I love it. We're. I think it's going to be. I hope we're finally turned the corner after that.
You guys were battling a bunch of injuries too, right?
We had a bunch of naggy injuries, but they were naggy, and it was one of those things where you needed a bye week to sort of get everyone back off the bench. And so we're coming into the week as healthy as I think we're going to be the rest of the year. Talked to the guys a lot during ALF. We had a couple different community events. This is our big community week as a rugby team. We do a lot of things during the week, so saw them a lot, even though we didn't have practices really. But they were upset with themselves. Coach, we had Franciscan in the first half. And so for them to recognize these sorts of things, to know that it's right there, it's on the cusp. We talked with WVU about, that early season that's tough opponents. You got to keep your players' mind right, that you are building, things are getting better. And so I don't see any sign that our guys have decided that, well, that's enough. No, it's we're progressing. We know we're doing the things we need to do. Now, they also know that, as you say, Slippery Rock plays a certain style, and that style is physical and tough, and we're going to have to be prepared for that. Even on a short week, I think this is what I'd be doing if I were them. I'd lean into my strengths, right? I mean, and lean into that forward ball and kick it out to the backs when you have the advantage. And so it'll be fun. Again, we're just happy to have 15s here on campus. We love having I love personally having the PSAC rivalry games. You talked about it earlier this year, the Apache rivalry, you guys and Slip. It's great having Slippery Rock up here. It's great when you guys came up here last fall. Because not that we're going to have a ton of students out, but the student body is familiar with a Clarion Slippery Rock game, a Clarion IUP game. So
do they still make the good, bad, and ugly shirts?
They might. I just haven't ever seen one.
You never said. Oh, IUP was always the good, obviously.
I'm sure the Clarion was the bad.
No, Clarion was the bad, and Slippery Rock was the ugly. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Well, that leads us to our game of the week. Our game of the week for this week, Franciscan at Robert Morris. So this is Robert Morris's homecoming, coming off a bye themselves here. Franciscan, again, looking, as we just said, 9th as of this recording, could be higher when this comes out. Looking to continue that streak. I mean, so basically Slippery Rock and Franciscan are neck and neck right now, the top of the ARU East. And this is always a big match. Robert Morris and Franciscan.
Yeah, I think Franciscan holds a 13-6 edge on that one. And I mean, that goes back years. I know when the ARU was kind of reforming the college and Franciscan was talking about coming in, part of that was RMU has to come with it. Franciscan leadership, this is their big rivalry. So it's rivalry week, baby.
And it's a Thursday night game. It's being played probably as you're watching this. So stop watching and go watch Robert Morris. I hope they're live streaming it.
Last year was on ESPN, right?
Last year was the ESPN Plus game. Yes. I haven't heard anything, but if so, we might have to push up the release of this video or something so that people can watch it. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But either way, you should not be watching right now. You should be there at the game. But hopefully it's a great game tonight. I think, Robert Morris is another one of those teams that's improving. A lot of rookies that are getting better. So it should be a great match. And then we go out west, and out west, Denison goes to Baldwin Wallace. Denison having sort of a little bit of a rebound week, starting to put some more points on the board. Played a tight game against Case, so it seems like maybe turning the edge there at Denison as well. But Baldwin Wallace, looking good, putting up points every time they play, man.
Yeah, and if that earlier match is any indication, that Case Baldwin was a 2-point match, so this one probably should be a good one.
Yeah, right. And so we'll see. I think this is Baldwin Wallace's last home game of the year. So if you're at BW, last chance to get out and see them. Of course, unless they have a playoff crossover, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, so it should be a great game. The winner here, if Baldwin Wallace can win this, they sort of keep pace or keep above John Carroll potentially. So it's a really critical time in the ARU West for Baldwin, Case, and John Carroll as they're vying for those top spots here. And then that gives us Case and John Carroll, another Cleveland matchup here. Two really good teams, I think. We've seen John Carroll against Denison. That's our only ARU West match so far. Big win, okay, and then played Bowling Green, and they've played Rio. So they've played a lot of tough competition as well. I'm really going to be excited to see what progresses here when they play Case and when they play Baldwin Wallace. So it should be a great game. Case Western, we were texting last week that them and Kenyon were, so this was 2 weeks ago now. We're throwing out some Instagram shade.
I love that.
I loved it. The chippiness, the feistiness. I love it. So, Case certainly has, maybe because of this show, a little chip on their shoulder. And we're giving the show way too much credit. But, so hopefully a great match. I'm expecting it to be a great match. That's where you should be Saturday if you're in Cleveland. Go to John Carroll. Watch some great rugby out there. And then finally our sevens. Last week we had a bit of something happened, a bit of a mess
drops.
up. Couple things fell out, late drops, and so it just nothing materialized. But we have Taylor sevens. Taylor gets into it this week, and Wabash going up. So this is actually all Indiana ARU matchup, and not your Indiana, the state of Indiana.
That's fair. Yeah, that's good. I like it. So they're going to do probably like 3 or 4 matches back to back to back. Hopefully I think Wabash is pretty close to having 15, right? I think last I checked it, and I should know this because I'm the guy that has to watch all the numbers and registration and everything. So I'm pretty sure they were close to 15. So maybe 2 different sides. Maybe they throw an A and a B out. And as we're talking, I'm trying to find the actual numbers. Of course, my iPad is in the way and I can't see it. They're at 11, so maybe not.
You're projecting hope and dreams into those numbers.
I'm trying.
For sure.
But I mean, that's still good. Different lineup, different runs. Not too far between the 2 campuses, I don't think. So relatively close. Get out, get some sevens, and coming up, in a couple weeks. Not this weekend, but the weekend after. First East Side, right?
Yeah. We're still working out to make sure insurance purposes everything is cleaned up and ready to go at Edinburgh. But worst comes to worst, it'll be at Clarion, I suppose. But yeah, it's planned for Edinburgh. That's the idea. So yeah, we're excited for that. But you're projecting out a couple of weeks, and let's project 2 more weeks out from that. And let's talk a little playoffs and what that looks like here in the ARU and then at NCR, at NCR's level as well.
Yeah, so ARU playoffs are easier for the higher divisions. So Rio is a win and in situation, or win and build a resume situation. It's going to be up to NCR and where they fall in the competitive scheme as an at-large bid. They've known it all year. They've tried to stack as many great teams as they can, trying to build that resume. It's just going to come down to did they do enough, win by enough to get that spot. It's going to be an at-large. No other information's around that right now. D1, D2 for the ARU is going to be 1v2. We had hoped it'd be a little bit deeper, but it's just going to be a 1v2 on the 5th. And then that comes to small college, to where it's a little bit different. So right now you've all been getting emails from me. Well, not you all, but anybody that's a club administrator has been getting an email from me about declaring a playoff pathway, getting your registrations and your players and all of that fun stuff. So small college, there's two different divisions. There's the Cohen Cup division, which is a national pathway that gives you a shot at a national title. We're going to do East 1 versus West 2 at the East site, and then West 1 versus East 2 at the West site. So 1v2 crossover. However, the chips fall. You could be traveling. You could be hosting on that first weekend. Of course, I would click.
No, it's October 29th.
October 29th. Yes, that's what I meant. Not the championship weekend.
So can we give an example of what that would look like right now?
So right now, if we
were to pause the season and say, Cohen Cup right now, ARU East leader is Franciscan. So Baldwin Wallace would travel to Franciscan as number 2 in the West. And then Slippery Rock would travel to Case Western as number 2 in the East, going to number 1 in the West. Just so we have so we put some terms to it here.
The added wrinkle to that is right now, Baldwin Wallace is a CBS declared team. I don't think they should be. I've emailed their leadership. I think they should bump up and play that national championship pathway. NCR is kind of on the same boat as they think they should bump up. So this may change by the time you watch it. So all of this may change. But right now, since they are a declared CBS team, they actually bumped down to the lower tiered playoffs with only a regional pathway. And John Carroll then would get to travel to Franciscan. Okay.
Right. So if 1 or 2 in your division is a CBS team, they bump down automatically to 3, and the Cohen teams move up to fill that slot. So, but the good news is we only have, I think, 1, 2, 3, and then Baldwin Wallace being our 4th bowl teams. So the ARU's original plan was to have nobody declare. If we didn't have anybody declare, then our plan was good, where top 2 Cohen, bottom 2 CBS, or bottom 3 or 4 CBS, and we could play a bigger playoff under that way if we needed to. That way we had distinct set pathways. Now with the declaration and people picking and kind of going off what we originally thought, kind of if you're a declared CBS and you're in that Cohen pathway playoff, you just drop down, somebody lead frogs up. We'll make it work. We will have this ironed out by the time that this posts, hopefully. And then you could always go on our fall 2022 page and see who is declared, who is going which pathway. That way you always see the standings are always updated. We do it every Sunday. You can see when it was last updated. Sunday night, sometimes Saturday night, depending on what we're doing, where we're at. But the pathways will be determined already. So with the lower level CBS, we're going to try and do the same thing, which may be a little different. Right now, it's kind of working out because we have 2 and 2, so we'll be able to do a 1 host
two travel, one host, two travel situation, but that may change. So we will have a declared pathway out. By the time this post, hopefully we have the at least regional pathway and national pathway ironed out as well. For our division, all roads regionally point to St. Louis to an extent. Rio and D2 may go different ways. And that's only because of regionality. For D2, there's a D2 playoff in Penn State Berks, so in Pennsylvania. That may be a shorter drive for Kent, IUP, WVU. So different things are going to come into play with those higher divisions. So we will have a set plan, just not yet. But for small college, all roads are leading to St. Louis. So you know you're going to St. Louis if you make the regionals. The Cohen or the Bull series, there's going to be a play-in weekend likely that may include one or two of the ARU teams. We're ironing it out. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to see where teams are and all that fun stuff. But hopefully by the time this posts, we have a pathway laid out. You've already seen an email from me, and that long rant that just happened was pointless.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, listen, you talk about a rebound for IUP rugby after COVID. NCR was formed and COVID hit, or actually it formed while COVID was around us. And so this was really only their second chance to have a fall. And I think we're still trying to work through a lot of what does small college rugby look like under NCR, and what is the most fair and most equitable opportunities. And so, patience is appreciated, as certainly people are doing it. Look, no one gets paid a bunch of money to do NCR stuff. So we're, people higher above me, Seth, and even higher above him, are working hard to make sure that this does get figured out, and it will. So be patient. I know if you're a senior, this might be frustrating because this is your last year, but in the coming years, this ought to be a really good system once we get the kinks worked out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. As soon as we're done with this, I'm going to spend probably another hour on regionality and who makes sense to travel where if they do a play-in weekend. Get that all ironed out and figured out, and then present my region, which is Region 3, which is relatively huge in the grand scheme of where teams come from. It's not like you thought the ARU was bad. Wait till you see what Region 3 is and how far we go. Small colleges, historically non-coached, player-ran, travel's tough. So trying to get regions to, what small colleges fit in what mold and play for what, playing weekends and bowls and stuff. So, it may be, like our division, the ARU historically has had an AQ, an automatic qualifier in the playoffs. That may change just because of regionality and trying to help teams with travel. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Hopefully you have an email, and all of this is just going to make a lot more sense because I put it in the email form and you read it.
Yeah. Well, and you say, too, traditionally small college being normally player-led or underfunded, and that's true. But I think to a large extent you're seeing, too, there's a splintering in small college of the sort of player-led clubs are on one side, and you're getting small colleges. A lot of our ARU small college teams are coached. They're funded by the schools. Maybe they're not varsity, but they have some funding. So, I mean, there is a noticeable difference between those types of small college teams. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into these thoughts. And not that this is my rant, but I suppose this is a good time to open up my door and have Dr. Sanko's office hour, shall we? It's a good lead-in because we're talking a lot of NCR here. And I do want to say, as my NCR ball's behind me, over my shoulders here, I want to say that we have an organization above us that is working for us that does do a lot for college rugby. I mean, you played and I played in the early 2000s when NSCRO was around and they were doing things, but nothing to the extent that NCR is. Even something as simple as the polling. One local place to find polling, coaches polling. But what I really want to talk about today is Friday Night Rugby, which debuted last week. Temple and St. Joe's. St. Joe's or St. John's? St. Joe's, that's right. That's more in Philly.
D1 AA matchup.
Yeah, and this is a great idea. NCR using their YouTube channel and their social media to really produce one a week, and it's rotated between women's and men's college rugby, showcasing some really great rugby matches. It was an awesome match. I hope you tuned in for it. Maybe not you, Seth. I know you were up at camp, but it was slickly produced. It was nicely done. I really appreciated watching it, and so I think you should too. We are college rugby. We're talking college rugby, and the best thing you could do is to support college rugby, right? And so, especially when someone and some organization works hard to put out a really finished, nice product. A lot of guys, on our team, and you'll see this with a lot of teams. Man, coach, I watched, Ireland play England last weekend, and it was great. Yeah, that's a great match and wonderful, but I don't know how much you're actually going to learn from that. You're not an Irish international. I'm sorry. If you're playing at Slippery Rock or Clarion, it helps you more to see your peers play peer-to-peer rugby, and some of that is they're going to make mistakes that you might make, right? Internationals are not going to knock the ball on, 50% of the time when it gets thrown out to them, right? Like we might in college. So you get to see something that looks more like the game that you're playing. You learn a heck of a lot more, I think. And really, honestly, why do people love college football more than the NFL? Because it's unpredictable. They're kids. They're going to make mistakes. And that makes the game fun and exciting. You turn on the NFL game on Sunday, unless it's the Steelers, and you have no idea what they're going to do. You can guarantee, maybe not guarantee, but you know pretty well what their NFL players are going to do. They're not going to make a ton of stupid mistakes. But the college kids, holy crap, who knows what's going to happen, right? And I think that makes college rugby fun too. So there's my shorter rant this week. Go watch NCR's Friday Night Rugby. It was a great quality product, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm going to watch Friday nights tomorrow morning.
Friday nights?
Yeah, I'm going to watch Last Fridays tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
We played both Temple and St. Joe's pre-COVID, pre almost losing a program. So, yeah, I think St. Joe's is on another coach. Shags left pre-COVID, and they went through a couple of coaches. So, I'm curious to see where we would stack up if we paid, kind of thing. Yeah,
right.
It's good rugby. Was it raining? Was it downpouring?
No, it actually looked. It looked damp-ish, but it looks all right. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good, especially because you do these Friday nights are always going to be like in section rivalries that the travel is minimal because it's Friday night, right? So it's always going to be a little bit more of a contested match just because it's going to be local rivals, and I think that's great.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it. Well, I guess that means it's time for you to clean up house and us to wrap the show here.
So match reports, please stop making me chase you. I'm going to start public shaming. I'm going to have a nice graphic of the count, like a match report counter of who turned it in and who didn't, just because we can. So please turn them in. If you need the link again, don't be embarrassed that you lost it. It's fine. I know you're not turning them in, so just let's fix it. And then championship location, we're adding a drop dead date. Everybody that runs the team got an email today. Friday at noon is our cutoff. It worked. Adding a deadline worked. We got one more submission today, which would be a great submission. it would be very central to all of our teams. That would fantastic. Hopefully that one works out. Again, right now we have actually two. One dropped out. So you're either coming to Clarion, IUP, or hopefully this new location works out because it's in Ohio, and it would be way more central. If not, again, High Street Deli is great for the coaches meeting. or Al Patty's, home of IUP Rugby.
Al Patty's. There you go.
IUP Rugby, baby.
There's
Especially
our sponsorship for the day.
Yeah. Marty, sponsorship ideas?
Buddy.
Buddy.
All right.
I'm good for the week. I got Kent State again, and I got to coach against Lukey, so that's going to take up the rest of my week and my time not sleeping. So just trying to figure.
Sounds
and not
good.
knowing if he's going to be a 9 or 10 is just wrecking my week.
Well, on that terrible note, I suppose we will wish you all a happy and fun and safe weekend. And go play some great rugby.
Have fun. Please have fun. The sport's fun.
It is fun. We'll see y'all. Take care.